I grew up believing rich people lived on another planet. Not metaphorically, literally. Because when you're poor as a kid, wealthy people don't feel human. They feel fictional. Like characters created for movies and advertisements. People with giant houses, perfect kitchens, cars that smelled new. Parents who never argued about money. Meanwhile, my childhood smelled like instant noodles and electricity bills that were always overdue. The apartment was tiny. Not the fun kind of tiny people romanticize online. Actually tiny. One bedroom, thin walls. Broken heating. A refrigerator that made strange noises at night, like it was struggling to survive alongside us. I slept on a mattress beside the living room window for years. When it rained hard enough, water leaked through the ceiling into a bucket my mom placed on the floor automatically, like she'd done it 1,000 times before. Because she had. Poverty changes how families talk. Nobody says, "We're poor." Instead, people say things like, "Maybe next month." "We can't right now." "Just make it last longer." Those sentences become normal. As a kid, I thought everyone lived like that. Then school changed everything. That's when I discovered money creates different realities. Some kids wore new shoes every year. Some kids threw food away without thinking. Some kids went on vacations during summer and came back with stories about airplanes and beaches. I remember pretending I understood those conversations. But secretly, I had never even been inside a hotel before. The first time I realized we were actually poor happened during a school trip. Everyone needed to bring money for food. Nothing expensive, just enough for lunch. I remember standing in the kitchen watching my mom search through drawers looking for spare coins. Not bills, coins. That image burned itself into my brain permanently. Because kids remember moments adults think are invisible. She smiled while handing me the money, pretending everything was okay. Parents do that a lot when they're struggling. They perform confidence for their children. But I saw the embarrassment in her face. And something changed inside me permanently that day. People think poverty motivates you instantly. It doesn't. At first, it just humiliates you. You become aware of things other kids never think about. The price of cereal, electric bills, gas money, rent deadlines. I knew when my parents were stressed because the apartment became quieter. Adult silence is loud when you're a kid. Some nights I heard arguments through the walls about money, never screaming. Worse, exhausted voices. The kind of voices people use when they've been losing for too long. My dad worked constantly, and somehow we still had nothing. That confused me as a child. Because adults always say, work hard and things get better. But I watched him work until his body hurt every day. And nothing got better. That realization becomes dangerous. Because once you understand hard work alone doesn't guarantee escape, your entire view of the world changes. School made everything worse. Poor kids become experts at pretending. Pretending old shoes are fine. Pretending you're not hungry. Pretending you don't care when friends invite everyone somewhere expensive and you can't go. I learned early that embarrassment feels physical. Like heat in your chest. One time a teacher asked the class what everyone got for Christmas. Kids talked about consoles, phones, bikes, trips. When it reached me, I lied instantly. I invented gifts because admitting the truth felt unbearable. That's another thing poverty teaches you, how to perform normality. But eventually, you start hating it. I became obsessed with money, quietly. Not greed. Escape. There's a difference. Rich kids dream about becoming famous. Poor kids dream about never checking bank accounts before buying groceries. I started noticing wealthy people everywhere. Big houses while riding the bus home. Expensive watches on businessmen downtown. Luxury cars parked outside restaurants my family could never afford. The city looked divided into invisible worlds. And I was trapped in the wrong one. The internet became dangerous for me around age 15. Because suddenly I could see rich people constantly. Entrepreneurs, traders, YouTubers, crypto millionaires. Teenagers claiming they made more money in a month than my parents made in years. Maybe some were lying, but it didn't matter. Because hope doesn't care about accuracy. The idea infected my brain immediately. Maybe escape existed. Maybe there was another life somewhere, beyond overdue bills and broken appliances. So I became obsessed. I watched motivational videos late at night while everyone slept. Wake up at 5 a.m. Escape the matrix. Become financially free. That content changes poor kids differently. We don't watch it for entertainment. We watch it like survival instructions. And slowly, money stopped being a goal. It became identity. I started trying everything. reselling shoes online, editing videos, freelance work, crypto, dropshipping, graphic design, anything that sounded like escape. Most of it failed instantly. Actually, almost all of it failed. That's the part nobody shows online. Failure when you're already poor feels different. Rich people call failed businesses learning experiences. Poor people call them disasters. Because losing $50 when you're broke actually matters. I remember one month where I spent almost everything I saved trying to start an online store. I genuinely believed it would change my life. I watched tutorials for weeks, built the website carefully, stayed awake, imagining future success. Then, nothing happened. No sales, no traffic, nothing. I remember staring at the screen at 3 a.m., realizing I had lost money I genuinely needed. That feeling hurts in a very specific way. But strangely, it also made me more determined. Because once you become obsessed with escaping poverty, normal life starts feeling impossible. I couldn't imagine working endlessly just to survive forever. I had already watched that happen to my parents, and it terrified me. So while other people relaxed after school, I worked. Not because I was disciplined, because I was scared. Fear became fuel. Every overdue bill, every awkward moment at school, every time my mom said, "We can't afford it," all of it stacked inside my head like pressure building in a machine. I started sleeping less, thinking constantly, planning constantly, watching successful people online until 4 a.m. convincing myself I'd become one eventually. The dangerous part about ambition is how quickly it isolates you. Friends stopped understanding me. While everyone else talked about parties and relationships, I thought about money nonstop. Not luxury, freedom. The ability to breathe without financial fear constantly sitting on your chest. That's all I wanted. But obsession changes people slowly. I became impatient, angry sometimes, jealous constantly. Watching wealthy kids waste opportunities felt physically painful. Because when you grow up poor, you understand the value of things immediately. Nothing feels guaranteed. Meanwhile, some people are born inside safety. That realization can either motivate you or poison you. For a while, it poisoned me. I hated rich people secretly. Not because they had money, because they never understood what survival felt like. Then adulthood arrived, and reality hit even harder. Being poor as a child is painful. Being poor as an adult feels terrifying, because eventually nobody rescues you anymore. Bills become your responsibility. Rent becomes your responsibility. Failure becomes your responsibility. And suddenly, the world expects stability from people who grew up surrounded by instability. I worked terrible jobs. Retail, warehouses, delivery driving, jobs where your body hurts, but your bank account still looks empty somehow. I remember standing inside a warehouse one night around 2 a.m., completely exhausted, thinking, if I stay here forever, my life is over. That thought terrified me more than failure ever could. So I kept trying, over and over again, failing repeatedly, starting again repeatedly. People romanticize the grind online. They never show the loneliness, the self-doubt, the embarrassment of telling people your business idea failed again. At one point, I stopped talking about goals entirely. Because explaining ambition while broke makes people look at you strangely, like you're delusional. Maybe I was, but delusion is sometimes necessary when your current reality feels unbearable. Years passed like that, walking, learning, failing, trying again. Slowly though, small things started changing. Tiny income online, small freelance clients, a video performing well, a side hustle finally working slightly. Nothing dramatic, but enough to feel momentum for the first time. And momentum changes people, because when you've spent your entire life losing, even tiny victories feel life-changing. I remember the first time I paid a bill for my mom myself. Not a huge bill, but enough. She tried pretending it wasn't emotional, but I saw her eyes watering slightly before she looked away. That moment meant more to me than money itself. Because poverty humiliates families slowly, over time. And helping them escape even slightly feels like repairing something broken. Eventually, my income grew. Still unstable, still inconsistent, but real. For the first time in my life, I stopped checking my bank account before buying groceries. And honestly, that felt richer than anything. People online imagine wealth as supercars and mansions. Real wealth is silence. Silence when paying bills. Silence when your phone rings. Silence in your chest when emergencies happen. That's what poor kids actually dream about. Not luxury, relief. But escaping poverty changes you permanently. Even after making money, your brain doesn't relax. I still calculate prices automatically in stores. Still panic slightly during unexpected expenses. Still fear losing everything overnight. Because poverty isn't just financial. It becomes psychological. A permanent survival instinct. And sometimes, I miss the person I was before money obsessed me. Because ambition consumed huge parts of my life. Relationships, sleep, peace. I sacrificed years chasing stability. And weirdly, once you finally start reaching it, you realize the fear never fully disappears. The poor kid inside you survives longer than the poverty itself. Even now, whenever I see parents counting coins at grocery stores, or exhausted workers leaving night shifts, I recognize that look instantly. That exhaustion, that quiet fear, because I used to live inside it every day. And maybe that's why I'll probably never stop working. Not because I need more money, because somewhere deep down, I'm still scared of becoming that kid again. The one lying awake at night hearing his parents argue quietly about bills through thin apartment walls. The kid, pretending not to notice the electricity almost getting shut off. The kid inventing Christmas gifts in class because the truth felt humiliating. People think becoming rich changes your life overnight. Sometimes it does, but sometimes it just changes what you're afraid of. And even now, after all the work, all the failures, all the obsession, if I hear someone say, "We can't afford it right now," part of me still feels like I'm back in that apartment again,